As we know, those are famous ads for InsuranceMarket.ae, just about everywhere. You can't go amongst any radio station or any social media account without seeing that. And the insurance market sector, they are being asked all sorts of questions when it comes down to sustainability. And that's why we do want to try and see how the sector is really going to respond, particularly after the successful hosting of COP28.
Well, yes, I mean, insurance is an integral part of this land, and we understand that, be it health, be it life, be it your vehicle, everything, insurance is a must.
Yeah, well, Avinash Babur is the CEO of InsuranceMarket.ae, and we welcome him once again. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having me again, and loving the Alfred voice that you're making.
How hard is it for you to go out to lunch or dinner and say, I work for InsuranceMarket.ae, and people always say, Insurance Market?
It's interesting. Yeah, exactly. And now people sing it at me as well, so good times.
Oh, so you enjoy it, you're not against it?
No, I'm not against it, but I think some people are against it sometimes, and
Oh, that's all right.
There will always be haters. What can you do?
No, see, again, as we say that, any PR is good PR, so it doesn't really matter even if they hate it, they still remember it, right? And that's a win there. Avinash,
absolutely.
A lot is changing as far as the dynamics of the country are concerned. With COP28 coming in, and with all of these changes that we're moving towards, do you think that it could lead to changes in insurance industry as well?
Absolutely. Look, insurance makes up a significant portion of the GDP. You're looking at 3 to 4% of the GDP. And so it plays a very important role in the development of any economy. And certainly it has been a part of the solution as far as sustainability is concerned. So, the insurance companies and the insurance industry as a whole is regulated, and they have new financial reporting standards, IFRS 17, and this brings in greater levels of transparency and greater levels of accountability for insurance companies, ensuring that they are doing their business sustainably. And then as an environment, there are a lot of great initiatives, for example, on the motor insurance side. You're seeing every year a reduction in accident rates. And that has, over the past decade, brought about a substantial reduction in car insurance rates. About 10 years ago, you were looking at an average of 3% of a car's value for insurance. That has now come down all the way to, 1.5% to 2%. So these are all developments that are playing towards, the sustainability of the economy, and making insurance affordable for the public. On the other hand, there are some headwinds as well. So, for example, on the healthcare side, there is inflation, and these are challenges that we as an industry have to grapple with as well.
Right. Very interestingly, you mentioned about the IFRS, the International Financial Reporting Standard 17, which will be adopted by the country and by the insurance industry as well. How does this change anything for the end user?
Look, for the end user, what's important is that you buy insurance from an insurance company that can afford to pay your claims. Okay. And when you have reporting standards that are more transparent, it enables everybody to know that the insurance company is doing business in a way that they will have sufficient capital to be able to pay those claims. So as an industry, because it's a competitive environment, there have been instances in the past where insurance companies have maybe underpriced their premiums and ended up in a situation where they are not sufficiently capitalized to be able to pay all of their claims. All of that becomes a lot harder to do if you are reporting your business in a much more transparent manner. So for the end consumer, it improves, it creates a sense of assurance, and we know that it will enable higher levels of sustainability within the insurance industry. And those market participants that are, not able to practice their business in a sustainable manner will have to take a good hard look at their, way of doing business. They may have to consolidate. They may have to merge with others, and that's all very good in terms of the development of the insurance industry going forward.
You mentioned one of the challenges facing the insurance sector next year is inflation. You know, the rising cost of living is affecting everyone in most countries. When people are doing their budgets and they've got to look things to cut, do they cut insurance? Is that a challenge for you, or do they tend to cut the level of insurance cover that they have in their budget?
Yeah, I mean, look, so when it comes to, car insurance, it's mandatory. And it's like I said, in the grand scheme of things, the costs have actually come down substantially. So car insurance, as I see it, is very affordable, even though post-COVID, and as we spoke in the last interview, we have seen a correction upwards of pricing, but it is still substantially lower than pre-COVID periods. So, that's fine, even though accidents are more costly to repair for insurance companies. I think car insurance is very affordable. When it comes to health insurance, you're right. So this can be a challenge. Generally, we've actually found people upgrading their levels of cover because of the inflationary environment. There's a greater understanding that healthcare, especially if there is, God forbid, a major condition that somebody has to be treated for, can become extremely expensive. So it's actually worthwhile having a more comprehensive cover that can hedge against the risk of something like that happening. So the trend that we have been seeing is that the customer has, and health insurance became mandatory in 2018. So, the public has had a good enough time now to understand how health insurance works. The entire population is insured. So generally, when we see families buying insurance for themselves, we've seen an uptick in terms of the level of cover they're going for. Now, if the company is buying health insurance, that's an idiosyncratic situation. Some companies are improving health cover for their employees. This helps with morale and retention of employees. And others, who have, budget constraints, who don't have the pricing power, who have to deal with cost cutting, they can look to reduce cover as well. So it's a mixed bag as far as the, employer is concerned.
Is there also a challenge within the UAE in general, because our population is aging? As we get bigger, there's a lot of people here that are staying longer than the previous generation, and they're getting older. Is that putting more pressure on the health insurance market and system?
Yeah, that's right. So, that again causes healthcare inflation. There is more demand for healthcare services, and that, shows itself in higher health insurance costs as well. So it's definitely an inflationary factor.
Yeah, because when I first came to the UAE 4 years ago, never needed health insurance. Now my back goes out more than I do.
Sorry to hear that.
But Avinash, while we've been talking about health insurance and car insurance, which is more or less mandatory in this part of the world, something which is not mandatory, but in my opinion, extremely important, is life insurance, or term insurance as it's called. Why do people get scared of talking about life insurance or investing, as one would think, in a term insurance when it's critically important?
That's a really good question. Look, I think a bunch of responsibility lies with us as market participants, as the industry, in spreading awareness about these products and how we distribute these products. So generally, people get very scared of life insurance salesmen because they're going to hound you and they're not going to let you sleep at night until you've bought a policy. And then they will, maybe recommend you products which you don't really understand because they're linked to investments and all of that. But at the end of the day, when you're thinking insurance, all you really care about is that, God forbid, if something happens to me, my family should be able to continue living in the way they currently do.
Right.
And so, as InsuranceMarket.ae, our focus is just the protection component. You can, so most of the policies that we sell, I would say over 95% on the life side, are pure protection policies, what we call term level insurance, which works pretty much exactly like your health insurance or your car insurance. You just pay a monthly or a yearly premium and you get coverage. you don't get any investment component or any money back at the end of it, because that's not the point.
Right.
There are other great tools out there for saving money. What we recommend our clients is to go for a simple, cheap term level insurance. And, I would also say that over the past few years, especially post-COVID, people have had that realization, that there is this risk that we have to deal with. And I think the penetration of life insurance will continue to increase going forward.
Yeah, well, I think that's a great insight in the way the market is going to go in 2024. Avinash Babur, the CEO of InsuranceMarket.ae. Thank you for your time during this festive season, and hopefully you enjoy this time with you and your family, and we'll speak to you in the new year.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Talk